The U.S. goat industry is diverse, with goats primarily raised for meat, milk, fiber, and land management purposes. As of 2024, the total goat population in the U.S. is approximately 2.47 million, slightly down from the previous year. Meat goats dominate with 1.95 million, followed by 415,000 dairy goats. Fiber goats, such as Angoras, account for a smaller portion. Economic highlights. 1. Meat production. The U.S. has become a net importer of goat meat, primarily from Australia and New Zealand, due to rising domestic demand. This growth is driven by ethnic and faith-based communities, including Hispanics, Asians, and Muslims. 2. Milk production. Dairy goats have seen a 1% increase in inventory in 2024. Goat milk and related products, like cheese, are gaining popularity for their health benefits. 3. Sustainability. Goats are integral to land management, particularly in wildfire-prone areas, as they control vegetation and reduce fire risks. This practice supports environmental sustainability while adding economic value. Goat farming presents significant opportunities for small-scale farmers to diversify income streams and tap into niche markets like specialty dairy products and organic meat. However, challenges remain, such as improving market structures and consumer awareness of goat products. Title: The growing goat industry in the USA. Introduction. The goat farming industry in the United States is gaining momentum, driven by the growing demand for meat, milk, and fiber products. With a population of approximately 2.47 million goats, this sector plays a vital role in the country's agriculture and sustainability efforts. Meat goat industry. The largest segment of the U.S. goat industry is meat production, accounting for around 1.95 million goats. The U.S. has transitioned from being a net exporter to a net importer of goat meat, with imports primarily from Australia and New Zealand. This growth is fueled by increasing demand from ethnic communities, including Hispanics, Asians, and Muslims, and health-conscious consumers seeking leaner protein options. Despite imports, domestic production has room for growth, creating opportunities for local farmers to meet the rising demand. Dairy goat industry. Dairy goats, numbering around 415,000, are experiencing steady growth. Goat milk and its derivatives, such as cheese and yogurt, are gaining popularity for their nutritional benefits and suitability for lactose-sensitive individuals. The U.S. dairy goat sector saw a 1% increase in inventory in 2024, reflecting rising interest in specialty dairy products. Small-scale farmers are tapping into this niche market, diversifying their income and serving a growing consumer base. Fiber and sustainability. While fiber goats like Angoras represent a smaller segment, their production supports industries such as luxury textiles. Beyond products, goats play a key role in land management. Goats are widely used to manage vegetation, particularly in wildfire-prone areas, reducing fire risks and promoting biodiversity. Their ability to thrive on various vegetation makes them an environmentally friendly livestock option. Opportunities and challenges. The U.S. goat industry presents unique opportunities for small and large-scale farmers. Opportunities: targeting ethnic and health-conscious markets. Expanding value-added products, such as organic meat and artisanal cheeses. Leveraging goats for eco-friendly land management practices. Challenges: limited consumer awareness about goat products. Strengthening the marketing structure to connect farmers with urban and specialty markets. Addressing disease management and ensuring sustainable practices in goat farming. Conclusion. With its growing demand and diverse applications, goat farming is a vital and expanding sector in the U.S. agriculture industry. By embracing innovation and addressing challenges, the industry is poised for even greater growth. If you found this breakdown helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more insights into sustainable farming trends. 15 things you may not know about goats. They're resourceful eaters and hate the rain. You know baby goats are adorable, but what else do you know about these dog-like critters? Corlafra, Shutterstock. Baby goats are as cute as puppies. You want to pick them up and cuddle them. Some research finds they even have canine-like personalities. Goats of all ages have expressive faces with odd eyes and interesting facial hair. Domesticated about 10,000 years ago, more than 200 domestic goat breeds are found worldwide today. They come in all sorts of colors and sizes and can be found eating grass or tree trunks. What else do we know about these doe-eyed creatures? Here are lots of interesting goat facts. Why this matters to treehugger. At Treehugger, we are advocates of animal welfare, including our pets and other domestic animals. The better we understand these creatures, the better we can support and protect their well-being. 1. They're more like dogs than we thought. Research published in Biology Letters shows that scientists discovered goats will look people in the eye when frustrated and needing help. For the study, a team trained some goats to remove a lid from a box to receive a reward. The team arranged the final task of the study in such a way that it was difficult to remove the lid from the box. What do you think happened? The team recorded the goats' reactions when gazing toward the experimenters in the room. It was as if the goats were asking for a little help. Goats in the study stared at people longer if the person was facing the goat than if the person was facing away. 2. They have beards and wattles. White goat with wattles and beard. Male and female goats can have wattles around the throat area. Carmen Reeb, Shutterstock. Male and female goats can have tufts of hair under their chin called beards. Both can also have wattles, hair-covered appendages of flesh, usually around the throat area, but sometimes found on the face or hanging from the ears. Wattles serve no purpose and aren't harmful to the goat. These funny features can sometimes become caught on fences or in feeders or may be chewed on by other goats. Not so funny. Sometimes owners will have their goats' wattles removed to avoid those kinds of injuries. 3. They love a smile. Goats prefer happy faces. In a simple experiment published in the Royal Society Open Science, researchers put photos on the wall at a goat sanctuary. The photos were of the same face, but one was happy and the other angry. Goats tended to avoid the angry faces, however, they approached the happy ones and explored them with their snouts. Researchers already knew that goats were extremely aware of human body language, but this experiment takes things a step further. Lead author Christian Novroth said, "Here, we show for the first time that goats do not only distinguish between these expressions, but they also prefer to interact with happy ones." You might have seen a goat in a cartoon or comic, gnawing on a tin can and heard that goats will eat pretty much anything. That's not true. They're actually picky eaters but extremely resourceful and able to find the most nutritious offerings wherever they are, including tree bark, which is rich in tannins. Goats can survive on the thinnest patches of grass, so the only places goats can't live are tundras, deserts, and aquatic habitats. There are even some feral groups of goats on Hawaii and other islands. Goats were domesticated early. Goats were among the first livestock species to be domesticated, about 10,000 years ago. Goat remains have been found at archaeological sites in Western Asia dating back about 9,000 years, according to the National Zoo. In a 2000 study published in the journal Science, researchers found archaeological evidence that goats' Capra hircus were first domesticated about 10,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent region of the Middle East. Some researchers believe that goats were domesticated from bezoars, C. egregris, a mountain ibex found in West Asia. 6. They don't love rain. Goats are generally pretty hardy animals, but the one thing they don't seem to like is rain. According to the USDA National Agricultural Library, goats will run to the nearest available shelter on the approach of a storm, often arriving before the first drops of rain have fallen. They also have an intense dislike for water puddles and mud, possibly because of evolution. They may have been more free of parasites if they had avoided wet spots. Some people will offer goats a covered shelter with an elevated, slatted floor to stay dry from their head to their hooves. Here's a brief summary of the article, 15 things you may not know about goats. 1. Dog-like behavior. Goats share some traits with dogs, such as gazing into humans' eyes for help when frustrated. 2. Unique features. Both male and female goats can have beards and wattles, appendages on their throats that serve no functional purpose but may require removal to prevent injury. 3. Preference for happy faces. Studies show goats prefer smiling human faces over angry ones, indicating their sensitivity to human emotions. 4. Picky yet resourceful eaters. Contrary to myths, goats are selective eaters but can survive on minimal vegetation, including tree bark, making them highly adaptable. 5. Early domestication. Goats were among the first domesticated animals, around 10,000 years ago, originating from the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East. 6. Dislike for rain. Goats avoid rain and muddy areas, likely due to evolutionary advantages like reduced exposure to parasites. They seek shelter before storms, showing their preference for dry conditions. These fascinating traits highlight goats' intelligence, adaptability, and unique personalities. 9. They are emotional. Goats also have richer emotional lives than many people realize. Not only are they surprisingly intelligent in general and can learn a task within about 12 attempts, but they can also identify their friends by sound alone and even distinguish other goats' emotions by listening to their calls. In a study published in Frontiers in Zoology, researchers found that goats have different physiological reactions based on the emotions they hear from other goats, a sign of a social phenomenon known as emotional contagion. The goats' heart rate variability, the time between heartbeats, was greater when positive calls were played compared to when negative calls were played. 10. They come in all kind of colors. Goat come in a rainbow of colors and even a few patterns. They can be white, black, brown, gold, and red with many variations of those colors. For example, a brown goat can be anywhere from light fawn to dark chocolate. Their coat patterns can be solid, striped, spotted, or a blend of shades, and they can have stripes on their faces. Some are belted, with a white band across their middles. They can be roan, where their body is sprinkled with white hairs, or pinto, where they have patches of white or black or another dark color. 11. They have interesting names. A female goat is a doe or nanny. A male goat is a buck or billy, or a wether if he's castrated. A young male goat that isn't yet sexually mature is a buckling, and a young female goat that isn't sexually mature is a doeling. A yearling is a goat that is between 1 and 2 years old. A baby goat that is less than a year old is a kid, and giving birth is called kidding. A group of goats is called a tribe or a trip. 12. They are born with teeth. Goats are often born with teeth. Those are deciduous incisor teeth, also called baby teeth or milk teeth. Later pairs of baby teeth grow in from the center of the jaw moving out. A baby goat usually gets 1 pair of teeth per week, so a kid usually has a full set of 8 incisors by the time it is only a month old. These baby teeth stick around until a goat is about a year old. Once these teeth fall out, adult goats end up with 32 teeth, 24 molars and 8 lower incisors. Goats don't have teeth in their upper front jaw. Instead, a hard dental pad acts like teeth. 13. They come in all shapes and sizes. Goat size varies greatly, depending on the breed. Domesticated goats range from mini, dwarf, and pygmy to full size. On the tiny end, Nigerian dwarf goats weigh only about 20 pounds (91.1 kilograms) and are 18 inches (45.7 centimeters) tall. On the larger size, Anglo-Nubian goats can weigh as much as 250 pounds (113.5 kilograms) and are 42 inches (106.7 centimeters) tall, reports the National Zoo. Like cows, sheep, and deer, goats are known as ruminants, meaning they have a complex system of stomachs for digestion. They have 4 compartments in their stomachs: reticulum, rumen, omasum, and abomasum, also called the true stomach. When simple stomach animals like humans, dogs, and cats eat, food is broken down in the stomach with acid and then undergoes enzymatic digestion in the small intestine where nutrients are absorbed. In ruminants like goats, microbial digestion occurs in the first 2 compartments, followed by acidic digestion in the second 2. Then nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine. Goats graze using their lips, teeth, and tongue. It then takes 11 to 15 hours for food to pass through the animal's 4 stomachs. 15. They play a part in mythology. When you think about creatures that played a role in mythological history, you might think centaurs or sirens, banshees or dragons. But goats also spring up in a surprising place. Thor, the god of thunder, typically walked or used his mythical hammer to fly. But according to Norse mythology, during a thunderstorm, Thor rode in a chariot pulled by 2 goats, Tangrisnir Norse for teeth bearer, and Tanningjoster teeth grinder. When he was hungry, Thor ate his goats, only to resurrect them with his hammer. Goats are fascinating creatures. Unfortunately, they are often overlooked, probably because they are not as iconic as other domesticated animals like horses and cows, and not as exotic as the creatures usually featured in nature documentaries, think crocodiles, lions, scorpions, and honey badgers. And yet, the humble goat can do very impressive things, like climb up mountains via sheer cliffs that would leave all but the most expert human climbers, with all their high-tech equipment, calling out for their mamas. A lesser-known talent of some goats is the ability to climb trees, even fairly tall ones, and balance on small branches that look like they can barely hold their weight. This is particularly common in southwest Morocco, where food can be scarce and argan trees produce a fruit that is particularly appealing to goats. These goats will easily climb to the top of 30-foot-tall trees like it's nothing. They congregate in precarious-looking groups, scramble up steep angles, jump from branches, and bat at tasty-looking bunches of argan nuts to bring them closer. Watching them is a bizarre and mind-boggling show of antics that appear to defy physics. Add animals, pets. Goats really can climb trees. You'll spot them in the argan trees of southwest Morocco. By Michael Graham Richard. Updated February 18, 2022. Catherine Martinko. Goats are fascinating creatures. Unfortunately, they are often overlooked, probably because they are not as iconic as other domesticated animals like horses and cows, and not as exotic as the creatures usually featured in nature documentaries, think crocodiles, lions, scorpions, and honey badgers. And yet, the humble goat can do very impressive things, like climb up mountains via sheer cliffs that would leave all but the most expert human climbers, with all their high-tech equipment, calling out for their mamas. A goat balances on a precarious spot on a rock face. Surprise Palit